You did not choose the first voice in your head about money. It was installed. You overheard it in kitchens and car rides and checkout lines. You felt it in the silence when bills arrived or in the celebration when tax refunds hit like holidays. You learned it from how your parents fought or didn't, from whether vacations came with spreadsheets or with surprise ice creams, from whether birthdays meant envelopes or speeches about responsibility. By the time you earned your first paycheck, your nervous system had already written a script about what money is and what it does to people like you. That script still runs when you're tired, scared, proud, or bored. It is the hand that moves yours at midnight when you click buy or when you open a retirement account. This is a field guide to those money scripts, how they were written, how they show up as sabotage, and how to rewrite them without pretending you can erase the past. Start with this. A money script is a sentence you believe without ever deciding to. It is short, sticky, and bossy. It sounds like, "I'm just not good with money," or "rich people are jerks," or "if I have it, I should share it," or "I deserve nice things because I work hard," or "we don't talk about money," or "we never have enough," or "there will always be more." Most scripts were true once in a small room for a small person. Your family really did have to stretch every euro. Your parent really did spend to feel loved. Your community really did distrust banks for reasons that were not paranoia. The problem is that scripts do not age on their own. They calcify. You grow, and they stay the age you were when you learned them. Then they drive adult decisions with child logic. To change anything, you have to see it. The fastest way to surface your scripts is to watch yourself on a bad day. Notice what you tell yourself when something breaks, when a bill surprises you, when your boss hints at layoffs, when you get an unexpected check, when a friend invites you to a trip outside your budget, when your partner spends on something you wouldn't. Write the exact sentence that arrives first. That sentence is your script. You will discover patterns. Spend scripts say money is there to fix feelings. Save scripts say money is there to control fate. Avoidance scripts say money is a source of conflict, so best not to look. Status scripts say money is identity, proof you are not small. Scarcity scripts say money is oxygen running out. Abundance scripts say money is air that cannot run out and therefore needs no plan. Most of us run more than one, switching costumes by context. Where do scripts come from? They arrive as vibes long before they become words. Maybe your mother called debt evil, while your father called it how we manage big things. So you learned that money is a fight and that the safest place is the hallway. Maybe you watched grandparents slip cash into hands at the door. So you learned that love is money carried in your coat. Maybe you heard, "we can't afford that," 1,000 times, but also watched new gadgets appear because dad needed them for his sanity. You learned that rules bend for grown-ups and solidify for kids. Maybe your home had enough money, but not enough attention, so you learned to buy the feeling you couldn't get. Scripts also arrive from culture. If your community was excluded from traditional finance, you learned to distrust institutions and trust people. If your community prized professional degrees, you learned that debt for school was a noble burden. If your community equated worth with net worth, you learned to measure yourself in a mirror that never stops asking for more. Sabotage wears ordinary clothes. The "I'm bad with money" script shows up as procrastination on basic tasks. Opening the account, setting autopay, asking for the raise, because if you are bad, the best you can do is avoid proof. The "rich people are jerks" script shows up as self-sabotage at promotion time because belonging to your family means not becoming the thing they warned you about. The "if I have it, I should give it" script shows up as rescuing loved ones in ways that injure your stability and ultimately your ability to help at all. The "I deserve nice things" script shows up as impulse purchases that counterfeit rest and then bill you interest. The "we don't talk about money" script shows up as arguments that explode without data. The "we never have enough" script shows up as hoarding cash while avoiding investing because markets feel like betrayal. The "there will always be more" script shows up as undersaving and overcommitting because tomorrow will fix what today invents. Scripts also hide in success. If you escape poverty into a high-earning world, the "take care of everyone" script follows you and raises into responsibilities you can't sustain. If you are first generation in a new country, the "don't rock the boat" script keeps you from negotiating and from leaving bad bosses. If you grew up in comfort, the "money will find me" script keeps you from building skills that stand when comfort shakes. If your family prized thrift as virtue, the "never waste" script keeps you from buying tools that save time and from buying experiences that build relationships. A script can be an allergy to joy as easily as a permission slip for chaos. You cannot delete scripts by force. You can only rewrite them with context, choice, and practice. Context begins with the smartest, kindest sentence you can write about where the script came from. My mother survived a divorce at 22, and debt terrified her because it was a trap she didn't choose. My father grew up with nothing and wanted us to feel like we belonged anywhere, so he spent to protect us. My community was excluded from loans. We learned to distrust promises on letterhead and to trust aunties. When you see the defense mechanism inside the habit, you can stop fighting ghosts and start designing for your actual life. Respect does not mean obedience. You can honor where the script came from and also decide that it doesn't get to drive anymore. Choice is the next step. A script becomes optional when you offer your brain an alternative sentence that is specific and testable. "I'm bad with money" becomes "I am learning one money task each month and my calendar and automation will carry me when I'm tired." "Rich people are jerks" becomes "money is a tool. I will judge people by how they use it, including me." "If I have it, I should share it" becomes "I will set a generosity budget and give with joy inside those boundaries." "I deserve nice things" becomes "I deserve rest and beauty, and I will fund those through a weekly joy line and through purchases that repair my day, not my ego." "We don't talk about money" becomes "We talk about money on Sundays for 10 minutes with tea, using numbers, not accusations." "We never have enough" becomes "We always have a plan, and the plan is what grows enough." "There will always be more" becomes "There will be more if I plant more. Planting happens on payday automatically." Most scripts really change because your nervous system only trusts what it experiences. You replace old reactions with small, repeatable behaviors until the new story feels true in your spine. If your script is avoidance, you institute a 2-minute money ritual every weekday. Open the app, check balances, breathe, close. If your script is impulse, you institute a 24-hour cart and a 7-day pause for anything above a threshold. During the pause, you write the job the purchase will do, and one no-buy way to get the same outcome. If your script is status, you redirect that energy into status that compounds: certifications, portfolios, leadership, and communities, so you still get recognition, but the kind that pays twice. If your script is scarcity, you set up automatic investments in broad index funds the day after payday, and you do not check daily because checking is not helping. You check monthly and celebrate shares accumulated, not prices. If you're caretaker, you create a formal family support fund with a cap and criteria. You give faster within that lane and no with love when requests exceed it. Repetition writes new myelin. Your body learns the new line because you feed it often enough. Sometimes scripts need therapy, not tactics. If money was used as control in your home, budgets will feel like control from a partner even when they aren't. If poverty traumatized you, investing will feel like exposure therapy to loss. If wealth traumatized you, conditional love, performative charity, you will avoid accumulation because it smells like a trap. Notice that these are not mood swings, they are protective patterns. You can work with a counselor who understands financial trauma and family systems to loosen the grip. The goal isn't to become a robot. The goal is to widen the window in which you can choose. Relationships are script amplifiers. People fall in love with different money languages and then wonder why the translation app fails. One partner's splurge to feel alive runs into the other partner's save to feel safe. The fix is not to argue the math. It is to introduce both scripts to sunlight and then build a system that gives each a room. You keep a shared account for bills and growth, and you keep individual weekly joy money that requires no explanation. You write down your joint vision so the saver doesn't feel like the spender is stealing from safety, and the spender doesn't feel like the saver is stealing from life. You adopt cooling off rules for big purchases. You agree on generosity boundaries with family. You adopt a phrase that protects you both. "It's not in this month's plan. Let's put it on the next huddle." Couples do not need the same script. They need choreography. Culture complicates scripts and can also heal them. If your culture values hospitality, you can keep it without letting it bankrupt you. You set a monthly open table budget, and you learn recipes that feed many without drama. If your culture values formal education, you can honor it without drowning in loans. You price degrees honestly, you pursue scholarships like a job, you bias toward programs with regulated outcomes, and you earn before you burn. If your culture survived by sharing, you can preserve it with boundaries you pledge to keep. Write the boundary, write the exceptions, write the review date. Boundaries spoken in kitchens evaporate under pressure. Boundaries written can be pointed to without turning love into a negotiation. Let's look at 4 common scripts up close and sketch rewrites that survive Wednesdays. The "money is dirty" script usually arrives from seeing money used to buy power or to erase consequences. It breeds a reflex to reject money before it changes you. The rewrite is moral clarity. Money amplifies whatever you are. You decide who you are with small money now, so big money is just a louder speaker. You practice generosity within a plan. You make a list of causes and family support priorities that get funded as your income grows. You keep your identity anchored in work and character, not in purchases. You put money to work where it cannot become a mirror you hate, funding time, education, tools, safety, and care. The "money will save me" script is the mirror, money as the cure for all discomfort. It breeds overwork, undersleep, and a waiting room life. The rewrite is tenderness and time. You set enough lines, an emergency fund target, a base level of investing, and you allow joy at those milestones. You build a life now that your future wealth will not need to rescue. You schedule presence with people and with yourself. You buy the mattress and the lamp and the shoes that make walks default. You remember that money cannot parent you. It can only hire babysitters for problems you name. The "I must prove I made it" script is fueled by distance from who you were and who you are now. It shows up as upgrades that nobody asked you to buy except the 8-year-old inside. The rewrite is witness. You invite people who love you to see your life as it is. You visit the old neighborhood with respect instead of costume. You make room for quiet wealth, savings, investments, cash buffers that do not post but do change how you sleep. You let your work and your care be the proof. Performing is expensive. Witnessing is free. The "I'm safer" small script is often gendered and generational. It shows up as under-asking, as putting your needs last, as treating your income as extra even when it isn't. The rewrite is a boundary and a bullhorn. You practice a salary script. You send the email. You treat your time like a billable resource. You teach your children that mom's work funds things and deserves quiet when the door is closed. You say "I need" without a footnote. You vote your needs in your own house first so you can vote them in your community without hypocrisy. Practical rewrites land better than slogans. If your script is "we never have enough," you open a high-yield savings account and name it Oxygen. You automate €50 on payday. You watch the number tick. Your body learns that enough appears when you fund it. If your script is "there will always be more," you open an investing account and automate €100 the day after payday before your lifestyle eats it. You watch shares accumulate regardless of price. Your body learns that more arrives because you planted. If your script is "I'm bad with money," you create a 10-step checklist and you repeat it monthly. Balances, bills, autopay, emergency fund, investing, debt, subscriptions, calendar, insurance, bowls. You check 7, you fix 3, you call it good. Your body learns that competence is a muscle that doesn't require genius. Forgiveness is part of this work. You cannot rewrite while punishing yourself for years of doing what the old script compelled you to do. You bought things to feel less alone. You avoided statements because statements looked like danger. You rescued people because rescue was how you felt worthy. That was the best your nervous system could do with the tools and stories it had. Better tools now do not make old you stupid. They make old you obsolete. Thank them for trying to keep you safe. Invite them to sit in the back seat. Put new sentences at the wheel. Progress will look like a strange piece. The urge to click will still visit, it will leave faster. The panic at market dips will still arrive. It will whisper, not scream.
The shame after a misstep will still warm your cheeks. It will melt when you do the next right thing. Scripts don't evaporate. They fade under the light of repetition and design. You build a life that gently contradicts them. Your bank app will show different numbers, but the more startling change will be that your body stops bracing every time you open it. A closing picture to hold. A kitchen table on a Sunday night. 2 cups, a notebook, a 10-minute ritual. You read your money sentences out loud, the old one and the new one. You do one small thing to make the new one truer this week. You rename an account so it tells the truth. You add a line to your family support plan so love has lanes. You write one sentence to your younger self, thanking them for surviving long enough for you to be here. You close the notebook and go on a walk. The world looks the same. The week will not be. Scripts wrote the first chapter. You are writing the next one with a better pen.